Hello, Mickie.
Hi.
I just want to ask how you got here. How did we all get here?
Okay. Well, over time, I think we've realised that our libraries have become increasingly under threat from Lambeth Council cuts. Not so long ago, last year, the council produced a Culture 2020 consultation document which was of such extraordinary fat size that actually I don't think many people even realise that contained within its glossy, expensive pages were plans for library closures. Those of us who've been really actively involved in supporting libraries and librarians for a long time, library staff, realised that there was a real imminent danger, and stepped up our campaigning really right across the borough to make sure that we were challenging all the things that were within that consultation and start to raise the profile and start to really let people know, because the council weren't letting them know, that what was contained there was going to be disastrous for our libraries. It was all dressed up in things like, the most amazing kind of 1984 speak kind of thing, whatever it's called, where, healthy,
Orwellian?
Yes, nothing, you wouldn't, even libraries were, they didn't even talk about what libraries do. It was extraordinary. So from that point forth, we kind of geared up. The Friends of Lambeth Libraries across all the libraries kind of became more active, and other campaigners too got involved. And as time went on and it emerged exactly what the plans were, we knew we had to do something more. We realised that we were going to lose half our library service, and we also realised that the council were not going to be honest about that. So right from the start, it's been dressed up as we're not closing libraries, we're being really imaginative and innovative and creative. We're going to have lounges in healthy living centres, and of course it's almost like a cuckoo in the nest. We're going to put a gym into 3 libraries that was going to be Tate South Lambeth, Carnegie and Minette, and even though they've been told really clearly that nobody wanted a gym, repeatedly by everybody, even in a kind of phony consultation that happened at Carnegie, everybody said they didn't want a gym. There were gyms everywhere, and why would you want a gym in a place where you have books? Why on earth? Actually, and in old buildings, it would kind of ruin the place. You'd kind of gut the building, wouldn't you? The gym, the cuckoo of the gym, would then push the library into becoming a bookshelf of books, or maybe a few bookshelves. But the critical thing is they would have absolutely no library staff. And a library is more than a shelf of books. And everybody has been telling the council this for a very, very long time. It's about the support you get to be able to access information, to access the internet, a place where you can be warm and safe, and if you don't have things at home or friends, or if you're lonely and isolated, it's a place to come. It's not a bookshelf of books. And the council clearly are trying to spin this, saying that they're going to be open for longer. And why on earth aren't we happy with them? Libraries are healthy living centres. They are community hubs. They are everything that libraries need to be. And they are completely lying to us when they say that this is a neighbourhood library service. It won't be library service. And anybody who uses a library knows that's the case.
So presumably you wrote to the council, you contacted the council to say...
People have been emailing, people have been lobbying, people have, you name it, we've done it. And more than that, wonderful thing happened that the head of Lambeth Libraries, who's an extremely brilliant librarian, she's had a huge impact on Lambeth Libraries. They've always been starved of funds, and they've always been kind of poor relation, even though they do amazing work. And when she came in the short time that she's been here, she's managed to raise the profile of the libraries, issues have gone up, visits have gone up, and now Lambeth has one of the best library services in the country. Well, what she's done is she worked really hard, and using other models that have been tried and tested across the country, she worked out a way that we could save all 10 libraries, still within what the council were talking about being a financial envelope. And and would retain a fully staffed library service. I probably just said that. So why wouldn't the council want to do that? Why wouldn't the council want to do that? It's the answer. If they say it's about a restricted budget.
Why didn't they want to do that?
Well,
what did they say?
What they actually said was, they didn't want to do it at all. They were not interested. She gave them her proposal April last year, and they just shelved it. They weren't interested, and as far as they're concerned, no one was ever going to know about it. We campaigned and campaigned and campaigned. We lobbied every council meeting that we could do. We've done everything we could to get them to change their minds. And eventually, at the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, we were able to put enough pressure for them to just ask some really quite minimal questions of the council's decision. And one of those was that they made a recommendation that they should reconsider and relook at this alternative plan. As a consequence, they kind of went through the motions of looking at this alternative plan. They gave the head of libraries, they gave her a tiny amount of money, and they gave her a month to put it together. And it was over the Christmas period. It contrasts enormously to the amount of money they've been prepared to give to other consultations. So she worked incredibly hard, and she produced a great piece of work, which she delivered to them. They looked at it, they had a panel that looked at it, but then they said, no, we're rejecting it. And the basis that they're rejecting it is that that the money didn't kind of stack up. They couldn't make the savings by April the 1st. The irony of all of this is that what they've done in ignoring her plan and rubbishing her plan, their plan, which we know is a disaster for the libraries, also hasn't made the savings by April the 1st. And if they go ahead with it...
Where is the council's plan?
Well, that's interesting you should say that. Everything is as clear as mud. Though they put lots of...
well, presumably if they rejected her plan for not being prepared, the council had a plan.
There was no equivalent here. So they said to Susanna, we need to see your plan, and it's not good enough. So you would think they would have the same conditions for their own plan. But actually to date, there is no plan. They haven't decided how on earth they're going to do it. There are no designs. There's nothing. They're now talking about possibly digging into the basement of Carnegie Library. We can only think how many millions that would cost. So more and more and more, it becomes something that is... They seem to be, for some unknown reason, prepared to spend money to railroad this disastrous plan, and they're not even going to save money.
There's just one other thing. I understand other people use the building, rent the building from Lambeth. What's happening to that?
Carnegie Library, yes, it's an interesting thing. Why would you close a library that you also have services continuing to run out of? In the practical sense, it's kind of ludicrous. So, in this wonderful building, there's rented space, so by artists and other people. And at the beginning of our occupation, we were really happy to, facilitate, welcome people to use that part of the building. It's a kind of weird scenario, really, but as soon as the council took over the door and didn't let anybody in, or anyone who left wasn't allowed to return, and put security guards on every door and inside with us, at that point forth, they've even stopped these guys using their rented space.
Just finishing filming.
So it's kind of strange.
Sorry, can you just repeat that? As soon as the council took control of the door?
As soon as the council decided, obviously they don't want us to be here, and then they're making it as difficult as possible. So as part of their tactics, they put their security guards on all our doors and inside, and taken control of access to the building, and have decided that those people who are renting the space are no longer allowed to come and go.
Anything else you think we need to know? What's it like being in here?
So I think if you ask anybody who's been involved in this occupation, what we all experience, I think, is a real amazing sense of common purpose and determination, and the solidarity and support that we're getting from outside is just extraordinary. And we know that we're doing the right thing. People from all over the country are telling us that we're doing the right thing. We're standing up for services, such vital services, and